Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another great podcast. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Hit that bell notification so you can get all the notifications of all the cool things we're doing. If you're listening to the podcast on the audio version, which is broadcast to all of our iTunes, Google Play, Spotify radio, all those different places, iHeart, you're listening to the audio version. But if you want to see the video version, you can go to YouTube. You can also refer the show to your friends, neighbors, relatives. You can go to thecbpn.com, Chris Voss Podcast Network.com, and get people signed up. Want to thank someone who gave us a great referral on the show. I'm going to take and pull that up and read that on the next show. So if you were that person, you'll get a shout out on the next show. I don't have it readily available here, but thank you. And if you like the show, please give it a recommend. That helps us get more distribution of the show, more people like the show, and everything else. We've got some great talent on the show where we've got some great deals with a lot of book makers and authors that are sending us a ton of authors. We've got some more people from the MSNBC network coming up. So watch for some great talent as well. We have all the best guests, and today we have one of the best, Mr. Tim Hughes. I've known him for quite some time through social media. He's universally recognized as the world's leading pioneer and exponents of social selling and is currently ranked number one by Analytica as the most influential social selling person in the world. He is also the co-founder and CEO of DLA Ignite and co-author of the best-selling books, Social Selling, Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers, and Smarketing, How to Achieve Competitive Advantage Through Blended Sales and Marketing. How's it going, Tim? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Chris. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, it's
awesome sauce.
I've known you for ages.
Yeah, we've kind of been these ships that are always crossing each other in social media waters, but we never have sat down and had a pint together, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we're now having a virtual pint.
Now we are in a virtual in the safe COVID environment.
Yeah.
Hey, give us your plug so people can find you on the interwebs and look you up and get to know you better.
Yes, so I'm Timothy_Hughes on Twitter. That's TIMOTHYHUGHES. You should be able to find me on LinkedIn, which is Timothy or Tim Hughes. And our website is DLAignite.com. And the book Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers is available on Amazon worldwide. It's a book, a Kindle, it's a MP3, whatever you want, you can get it.
Whatever you want, you can get it. That's the beauty of Amazon, right?
Yeah.
It's also the beauty of COVID-19 right now. But I'm sure your book's a much better read than COVID-19. You're coming to us from across what we like to call the pond, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm based in London, yeah. We're a global organization. We have people, associates and partners throughout the world. But yeah, I'm based in London.
You know, it's a really interesting thing. A lot of people in America right now have no idea that they can't escape the island if they needed to. Like no one wants us. We're the scourge of the world. What's that like on the other side of the pond there, looking at us?
What's it like? It's interesting. Shall I give you the political correct answer that it's interesting? Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever.
There's a certain perfect storm taking place. You know that seems to be happening. Yeah.
Yeah, we're the slow moving car wreck. I don't know, but it's interesting. Like. So a friend was saying to me, he goes, "What are you going to do if Donald Trump gets reelected again?" I'm like, "Well, I can't move to Canada." we're in our own little, he wanted to build a wall, and now we're all cut off from everything.
Now everybody else is building a wall.
Yeah, like everybody else is like we're the scourge of the world at this point. Like there's places that are probably not the greatest places to live in that maybe don't have running water and food. And they're like, no, we really don't want you guys here. Like, seriously. Anyway, moving on, Timothy. But it's good. I'm glad you're staying healthy over there on the other side of the pond.
Yeah, we've been in lockdown for 3 months now. So
Yeah.
I actually went to a restaurant at the weekend. Yeah, with the
Yeah.
we had a socially distanced bacon roll.
There you go.
Yeah.
I guess the Queen's not out partying yet. Is that?
No, she's at Windsor Castle. She's
She's got
because
the
she's
windows closed and
90 something. So yeah,
well, God save the Queen.
absolutely.
There we go. So let's talk about you. Give us before we get into your books and stuff. Let's get into a kind of a story on how you grew up and what got you here. What helped shape this man that became this master marketing genius.
So I'm a salesperson, and I've worked in tech for, I'll say, 20 years, selling. And then back in 2015, I was actually part of a sales reorganization. So this is a classic situation where we were an on-premise organization and the competition moved to cloud SaaS.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to completely re-engineer the sales team. And one of the things that we taught the salespeople was to sell on social. It was fairly rudimentary. And the power of networks, that once you start doing something on a network, things just seem to come to you.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I started doing things in a way. Sometimes I say to people, I wrote my LinkedIn profile a bit like if you were Tony Robbins, or if Tony Robbins was telling you to, you know how Tony Robbins tells you to do visualizations. Well, it was kind of like I decided to write my LinkedIn profile how I wanted to be in 3 years' time.
Oh,
so I didn't want to carry on selling SaaS systems. I actually wanted to get into social media. And Matt Reynolds, who's my co-author on social selling, did I mention that? Basically, he came to me and we had a chat, and I said, we need to write a book. And he said, well, I know some people at a publisher. Within 3 months, I got a book deal. I mean, it was just amazing. The book went bestseller during the first 3 months before it was actually available. Part of that was network, but part of that was interesting, and it's just sold then on and on and on and on. And even this week, people have been posting pictures, because I actually say in the book, if you're reading it, post a picture of yourself on social. And people,
serious?
Even today, are basically posting pictures of themselves saying, I've just read this book. And it's an amazing thing. So I'm able to connect to all of my all of the readers, or the ones that post the pictures. And it's just been amazing. So so I left that large US software company about 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And set up DLA Ignite. And that's what we do, is we help transform organizations using social media. And,
awesome sauce.
And it's amazing the way that we've got people to move away from using cold calling, emails, and all of those old-fashioned things, and actually use something modern. And it's accelerated during COVID-19. It's just amazing that the way that life has changed. How everybody was suddenly sitting at home, and we were all on social.
I should look you up and see when I followed you on LinkedIn. I just barely, right before the show, downloaded all my connections, maxed out at 30,000. And it's become obvious to me that it's time. We've been doing this thing on all my Twitter accounts where we've been cleaning all the dead wood. Okay. So we've been going through 8 of my major Twitter accounts and cleaning out anybody who's, number one, not following me back, and also just anything that looks just dead. Like, it's amazing how much dead wood is over there. Stuff that hasn't tweeted in like 5 million years and stuff. Like, I don't know why Twitter leaves the stuff on there sometimes. And so now I'm starting that process on LinkedIn, and you can download all your connections into a spreadsheet, and it literally shows me all the way back to the very first person I connected with on LinkedIn. Is that crazy or what?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been on LinkedIn for years. I mean, the thing is that we think that social media has changed the world. It's changed society. Was it just 2 weeks ago, we were all talking about the fact that Adidas had retweeted Nike, and certainly the news programs in the UK are about who's tweeted this and who's tweeted that, usually because they're of a very senior position within the US. And it's also changed business. I mean, we've met through social, and I think the buying, and as far as we're concerned, the buying process has changed. Social is, if you're looking to buy something, you'll go online and check it out. So, I mean, you're a classic example of, we'll look at, if I say to you, you'll hate me for this because I've got an iPhone. So if I say to you, an iPhone is the best phone in the world, you'll say, no, it's not. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but the thing is that, and anybody else, if I run an advert that says the iPhone is the best in the world, the first thing you'll do is go online and Google it. The next thing you'll do is you'll go onto social and you'll start reading articles. The next thing you'll do is you go to influencers like you and say, so what do you think of the iPhone? And you'll say, shit. And so what happens is that, so if I tell you that the iPhone is the best phone in the world, within 2 days you'll come back and say these phones are actually better and they're cheaper and da 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 da. And it's the same for any product. If I tell you that the BMW 4 Series is the best car in the world, you'll go on the line, you'll check it out, you'll go onto social, you'll ask your friends, you'll talk to people like Chris Voss, and you'll come back and say, well, actually, I think these cars are better. So, and that's the fundamental issue that's changed with selling and marketing, is that it doesn't matter how much I, as an organization, will come and interrupt you with an advert, with cold calling or an email. If I interrupt you and I broadcast my message, all you're going to do is go, well, that's interesting, and I'm going to go online and check that out.
It's also go ahead.
I was going to say, so, I got a Facebook ad the other day. So I'm a big collector of physical music. I collect vinyl records, and I got sent a Facebook message, Facebook ad saying, I'm a big rock fan. So there's an AC/DC box set of live AC/DC concerts, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought, oh, I quite fancy that. So it's Facebook ad. And I go, okay, I wonder if I can get it cheaper. So I immediately go online and I can find it cheaper on Amazon.
Wow.
So I just, because us record collectors all stick together, I just put a comment onto the ad saying, you do realize you can get it cheaper on Amazon. Here we got people that are basically spending money on Facebook ads just for me to go and buy it from a competitor. And that is the way, that's the conundrum that we live in right now. The fact that the buyer has this power and we are able to go online and buy stuff. And the more that we use advertising, cold calling, email, the more that we're driving people to our competitors.
The great democratization of data and information.
Absolutely, yeah. And we can talk to anybody. It's the same as you. You come to me and we're having this chat, and we can talk to anybody who we want on. There is a situation, we've never had this in the world before, where we have the President of the United States talking to everybody, not through the news media.
Yeah.
So he's completely bypassed the news media to talk to people. Now you can actually talk to him back. So, and never have we been in a situation where we have been able to do that, because normally you'd need to go through you'd need to go probably through the party.
Yeah, you'd send an email, so you send a piece of mail.
You've never been to do that. The same with, I was just looking on Twitter today, and there's one of our politicians have made an announcement, and everyone's going on there saying, well, that's not you, or blah, 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 blah. The thing is this democratization that we've been able to, the hierarchies have gone, and we can talk to whoever we want. And that's a massive change in the way that society works, both from the way that we're able to work in society and business.
Yep. I think it's been an interesting ride seeing it come up, and then seeing some of the other elements of the dark side. You and I both came up at the same time, where we were all like, kumbaya, and social media is going to change the world. And we saw Arab Spring overthrowing evil governments, and then evil governments going, so if this could overthrow us, what can we use it for? And then it became the opposite, where we've lost a lot of our privacy, giving up a lot of our values and rights. Evil governments have used it to be oppressive, as opposed to the freedom of information and everything else. So it's interesting, the journey that's gone on. And I'm kind of curious on what the future is going to be, if it's going to open up to a better place, where we put in rules and regulations more to regulate maybe Facebook and Twitter and other things, but somehow in a way keep them to where the beautiful parts of social media are there without the dark parts being more regulated.
Well, I mean, if you take China, I mean, WeChat as a platform is way more advanced than Facebook, but you give up all your privacy.
Yeah.
They've got, in China, we were doing some work in Singapore, and we had a person who basically come back from China, and she said, I can't understand how you're all using credit cards, because we all use our phones in China. Credit cards are completely gone. And Uber is just a copy of WeChat functionality. They've had been able to hire taxis in WeChat for years. But I was being told that they've got some AI in WeChat which will actually predict and say, okay, this Friday you're going to meet at this place with these friends. Do you want us to organize it for us? Now they know that because they know that you're at that place every Friday, and they know that you're connected to those friends.
Wow.
Now that's that obviously to have, some people would say, oh yeah, it'd be really great to have that organized for me. But you obviously have to give up an awful lot of your privacy to allow that to happen.
And in China now, they have that social scoring thing where with the AI, they know everything about you, what you're buying, what you're selling. You get a social score, which dependent upon what your score is. You can either travel or you can't. If you're I guess a subversive type of person, in their minds, they put you on lockdown and make it hard for you to travel and everything else. It's kind of interesting. And of course, there's the things that they're doing with the Uyghurs, where they're pretty much doing internment camps and slave labor and a bunch of other dirty, ugly stuff that's going on over there.
And I don't want to be pro-Chinese or anything, but that I run a podcast, and I interviewed someone who's written a book about China, and they, in terms of, their drones, they're the leaders in the world for drones. Obviously, one of the reasons why they use drones is for surveillance.
Yeah.
And I know that the Californian police bought them in the end after coughing a bit and not wanting to do that. But they've got, certainly some of the innovation they've got there. They've got, rather than you having to go out and get a Starbucks, they had the company that delivers them on an electric scooter, until that company went bust because they had dodgy accounting. But Starbucks started copying that.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
But one of the things that's interesting is the development recently of the people using social against people that are using social. So that recent Trump, he had that big meeting where he said he had got 1 million people.
Yeah.
And actually, he probably did have 1 million people, but a number of them were fake.
Yeah.
Because people on TikTok were basically applying to do it, and they were just doing it for a laugh.
Yeah, the manipulation is kind of interesting. In fact, it's widely assumed that about 80% of his followers on Twitter are fake, and they're just bots, and most likely bots from other countries. So they try to smash those out a lot. But I think they just haven't taken away from him because, I don't know, he get angry. Over the years on Twitter, I've lost followers. I remember in 2000, I think it was 2012 or 2011, they were really getting attacked by Russian hackers creating bot fake accounts. And one day Twitter announced they were going after him, and I lost I think 18,000 followers overnight. They announced it.
Lost 5,000, yeah.
I was like, holy crap, I didn't know I was that popular with the Russians.
Well, I lost 5,000, but it kind of didn't matter. But if other people were going to lose, if Kim Kardashian was going to lose 2 million or something, let me pick someone that's not political.
Yeah.
Then obviously they would have would be concerned about it. But you got to remember that 55% of this is Twitter's figures. 55% of people on Twitter don't tweet.
Yeah.
They use it as a way of getting information.
Yeah.
So,
even like most people are lurkers on Facebook. Like I'll have people. I had somebody. I was doing the happy birthday thing where I say happy birthday everybody. You know, you go through the daily birthdays, and I had somebody that I didn't recognize. I haven't seen ever on my streams, ever liking, ever commenting. She's like, I like every one of your posts. They're so awesome. And I'm like, man, you really are a deep, dark lurker.
Well, I've had people that have come to me saying, you know, I read all your posts, and I go, have you? But you've got to recognize that 80-90% of people probably are lurkers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you know, lurkers are great. And I don't mind people coming to me saying that I read all your stuff. I like it because it's part of the magic of networks.
Yeah.
And it can be like witchcraft sometimes, the way that the networks are powerful and can bring stuff to you. Yeah.
It's also interesting too, because sometimes I get discouraged because I'm like, I don't think anybody really gives a damn what I think anymore. And when I bump into a lurker, I'm like, well, would you tell me? Because you know, I'm like a comedian or an actor where the juice for me is when making people laugh or getting attention. And so if I don't get attention, I don't think it's working, and then I get frustrated, and then I don't do stupid shit to get attention anymore.
I did an interview with a behavioral psychologist last week.
Mm-hmm.
He also is a stand-up comic, and he's doing stand-up at the moment on Zoom.
Oh wow!
And you can't see the audience because the people don't like put the videos on.
Yeah.
So he said you get no feedback. So he said what you're supposed to do is in the chat you're supposed to put ha 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 ha.
Oh.
But if you're laughing, obviously you can't actually get your fingers to do the ha 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 ha.
That's got to be hard because you're trying to read the chat, you're trying to remember your bit, and
yeah, but I mean, we have to kind of get used to that. But lurkers are fantastic. You know, there's nothing wrong with and getting feedback is great. It is. I mean, I'm so pleased I put in the book that people to post pictures about it, because it means that I've been able to connect with the readers, and you know, I've actually got, you know, they've turned into friends.
It is interesting to me, just like our conversation we're having is we've been just kind of rotating through each other's universe, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, after a while, I'm a real face guy, and so I recognize a lot of pictures, and so I'll see the same avatars, the same faces, and I'll be like, I know that guy. He's been around for a long time, but I've never really talked to him, never really sat down with him. And thank God my podcast allows me to have some fun with that, where I can get to know people. And it kind of helps me discover people where, you know, you're rotating in these sort of like solar system sort of things. And then suddenly the planets come close together and you're like, hey, and then you find somebody and you're like, wow, why didn't I get to know you better sooner? And it's just one of those things with the economy of what people's time and lives are. But it's just interesting, the serendipity of the whole nature of it. I've been lucky enough where, you know, I've done a lot of videos on YouTube now, and the videos are over 12 years old, and there are still people watching 12-year-old videos. Like I'll get the emails from YouTube and somebody's commenting on stuff. The worst ones, because I've done reviews, are the ones where somebody's going like, how come this doesn't work anymore? I can't get it to work. And you'll like look at the date stamp. You're like, because that's an electronic product with a battery from 2001, you fool. That thing's done. Like, give it up. Like, I'll get asked.
I've been blogging, writing for 5-6 years, and I get people coming to me, you know, from blogs that have written 5-6 years ago, saying, wow, that's really amazing. And I'm going like, well, it is still current because social is still important. But, you know, I do think, well, I wrote that 6 years ago. It's a bit like, I guess if you were a musician, I'm not, but if you were a musician and, you know, it's like, you know, I think your first album's really great. It's like, well, yeah, but I'm on the 6th album now, and that's really, you know, that's what I'm into, you know. Really the first album we kind of wrote when we were students, but, you know, it's like, but so but it's great getting feedback and great getting people contacting me and
And
saying,
it's
I heard you on
cool.
the Chris Voss podcast.
It's cool to have a body of work where it stretches back that far, and like people have seen it. Like we just recently passed 500 episodes in the Chris Voss show.
Wow.
I think we're closing in on like 4,000 videos on YouTube, and I think it's like 60 million views over there, which is astounding that anyone would want to watch anything I do 60 million times. But you look at the body of work and how it's consumed, and it's still being consumed. I'm still being paid for all that old crap by YouTube. Like I've told my family, if I die, make sure you get in the YouTube checking account and keep collecting those checks, because as long as that media is up, it just keeps paying. It's just it's really weird to look at the backside of it and go, wow, maybe I should have done more when I was starting out and doing this stuff, because I didn't realize the longevity of it all. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't really think it would still be like a thing after 10 years. I thought there'd be something new.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, I've only done like 120 interviews, but there's a number of things about a podcast. One is you actually get to meet the person,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's really great actually talking to somebody and spending time with them. And I recommend anybody to start a podcast. Okay, not just everybody, but some people should do a podcast.
I think everyone has one at this point.
Especially when you interview somebody and meet them. But that thing is about that legacy of your work. We quite often say to people, we teach people how to blog, and get salespeople to actually create content, and there are always 1,000 reasons and excuses. I can't write. No one will want to listen to what I've got to say. I can't spell, and all of those things. And we all go through those things, but actually, people do want to hear what you say.
Yeah.
We're a great example. I'm going to say both of us. We've got no talent, but people want to hear what we've got to say. And it's true. And anything that you post on social, I'm talking about, people that might be watching this, and you post about yourself, you'll get far more engagement about posting about yourself than posting about what your company's telling you to post.
It's interesting too, where people have that identification, where we all kind of have the same challenges in life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of our clients, their sales guy, he wrote an article about, with the lockdown, he got an extra 90 minutes a day because he had a commute into London, which is 45 minutes each way. Oh, so wow. He was able to spend more time with his children.
Mm-hmm.
And it just blew up. I mean, it was one of those things. Everyone would go, "Oh yeah, really, yeah, Duncan. I think that's really great." And it's the same with me. And I feel really concerned about the situation, but it does mean I'm able to spend more time with my family. And it's like he just couldn't believe how much engagement he got. And of course, because he's got all that engagement, it gives him an opportunity to say, for the people that he's already connected to, he's able to say, "I hope you like my blog. Why don't we just get on a call and have a chat?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good idea." And for the people he wasn't connected to, he was able to go, "Thanks for that. Thanks for the liking my blog. Can we connect?" So he's then got them and you're just growing his network. It's a great opportunity just to connect with people.
Yeah,
people.
What was interesting to me was I used to do a lot of the PR posts, keep a lot of my stuff private off of line. I wasn't hiding anything. It's not like I'm putting bodies in the basement or anything. I mean, I am, but I'm not going to tell anybody that. I always kind of lived my life kind of as a PR basis, and then I started to have calamities that would befall me, like my dog passed away.
Yeah. And your dog posts go ballistic.
Yeah, and I really was on the fence about talking about that. Losing weight was another conundrum that I wasn't excited to share with people. And what happened was it really opened other people up. Like when I shared my dog conversations with myself when my dog passed away, At first I was really reluctant to share it, and then I shared it and went, okay, well, whatever. I'm just gonna, I I have a wife or kids, so my family is online. So I shared it, and I had people writing me crying, going, I had no idea what you
Yeah.
wrote was beautiful. And I had no idea that I hadn't gotten closure with my father, mother, dog. I mean, it turned into this thing. And I realized that the human experience, um, the human thing that we go through is life. We're all kind of going through some of the same sort of experiences, or have gone through the same sort of experiences. And being able to talk about that and stew in it and share those experiences and lift each other up and help each other with life lessons. I mean, that's really what we do with the stories that we make, the stories that we tell, the movies and everything that we do. We're all trying to use these as lessons to go through life. And so then I just pretty much threw out all the, what would you call it? All the authenticity. I thought I'd always been authentic, but I hadn't always shared everything. And then I threw away everything and said, if I want to talk about something, I'll talk about something. It's always been interesting how it brings out other people and their pain, their struggles, and we end up hopefully lifting all boats together.
Yeah, I remember when your dog died.
Hmm.
I remember, you writing a post about, and you were posting pictures of it. It had cancer, didn't it?
Mhm.
And it would bring a tear to your eye.
Yeah.
And then I remember you posting a picture of getting a new puppy, and it was just a
Mhm.
wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And here I am sitting in London, watching that and seeing that going on. And I've had pets all my life, and there's one thing that about the pet is that you see the pet, you're probably going to see the pet die before you.
Yeah.
And that's something you have to live with. I've had a cat recently and I'm still don't think I'm over it. It's 18 months.
Oh,
And it
wow.
wasn't even my cat. It was my partner's cat.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is that you recognize that. And seeing that, I remember you had a problem with your neighbor because your dog was, and they thought you were basically mistreating your dog, but because the dog
Oh,
was
that's
dying.
right. She died. They walked through
And
the back and they saw the cancer on the back end of the dog, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
thought,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, you see, I'm remembering the stuff.
yeah, wow.
And it was a real. And then I remember you getting the puppy, and it was like, oh yeah, great, he's got a puppy. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, the dogs that you've chosen to have are not exactly ones you put in your handbag, are they? So so what you know the responsibility.
Mhm.
But yes, it's. And people don't realize that actually that's what people want.
Yeah.
They don't want, everybody markets as buy my product because it's great.
Mhm.
And because everybody does that, no one's interested.
Yeah.
But if a salespeople or say, I actually have a dog. This is my dog. It's old. It's, we don't take it for a walk anymore. It goes for a drag or whatever it is. And actually talk about it. That's what people are interested in.
And a lot more people are doing that. They're not selling directly as much. Well, I don't know if a lot, I don't know how many people are using it. I'm seeing stuff like on TikTok or Instagram where instead of just showing the product and they're like, buy X, Y, or Z, they're doing videos showing the use of the product and how to utilize it. Like I know on TikTok there's one guys and they have like some sort of food seasoning, like a dash, like it's just some sort of food seasoning you sprinkle on your steaks and your meats and stuff. And it's pretty unspectacular when you think about it. It's just like, here's some seasoning. There's 50 million other seasonings like it in the world. Why should you buy this one? I don't know. Just click it and buy it. But on TikTok, they sell the sizzle. They show the usage of it. And the guy gets on there and he's got these big giant pieces of meat and he's like, you shake all the seasoning on it. And he shows how you cook it and the taste. And you get done watching, you're like, hey, I gotta order some of that. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so it's really cool how those sort of changes are making where you're seeing the more experiential ends of products and everything else.
Yeah, I think that the classic way of marketing is over. where everybody just says blandly, buy my stuff because it's brilliant. I mean, of course, no one ever says buy my product because it's shit. So everybody has to say buy my product because it's good, but everybody says it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, quite often we're actually not sophisticated to know the difference. I mean, I don't know the difference of different types of seasoning.
Yeah.
I just, and I'm not going to be bothered to go out and investigate. And if this guy's saying this looks good, we go, well, I'll give it a punt.
Yeah.
Why not?
And you see it in use. You see how it tastes. You see people's reaction. I bought some, and it's great. And it's kind of like, God, you remember the old days when you would go to like events and conventions, and ever go to cooking one, and there's that cooking booth, and the guy's got the knives, and he's like, he's selling it. You can
selling the set of knives, yeah.
And you see him, he's doing all the magic, and you're like, I want to take that. I was like, I can do that too. It's interesting how this social media world works. So you talk about this in both your books, in Marketing and in the first one.
Yeah. So in Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers, that book is actually written to enable salespeople to social sell. So it's not about me and my journey or shit like that. It's all about, and it's not about how to use LinkedIn. It's about how to use social, and it's actually written as a framework. So it's a book that I actually tell people to get the book rather than the Kindle, because I've actually got people that have highlighted stuff and read it 3 times and got post-it notes to it.
Wow.
And Smarketing is slightly different. So Smarketing is actually how to bring a sales and marketing organization together to work together, because I've worked in organizations where they generally throw stones at each other through email and won't talk to each other and stuff like that. And we actually used a case study of an organization that brought their sales and marketing together. So it's really for senior leaders, either senior marketing leaders or senior sales leaders that think they need to be work closer. And we think that in a social world, you need to be, there's certain things that marketing need to be doing certain sales things, and sales need to be doing certain marketing things. And certainly when I've worked in organizations where we actually got the truces and the white flags and actually got people in the same meeting rooms and talking the same language about what a lead is, for example, that seemed to work better.
It's interesting to me how things are evolving. I've seen move away from influencers a little bit, and it seems to have gone back to some organizations I've seen just going back to just selling, like we're just going to straight sell. What are you seeing on your end of the world, or what are you seeing in marketing online?
I think so. Influencer marketing is becoming, I think, in a business to consumer environment, we're not seeing so many influencers because a lot of it is just adverts.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kim Kardashian wears a dress to a fashion thing. It's an advert, really. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing it certainly more in business to business. So we're seeing people like SAP, HP, people like that. Adobe are using influencers. I mean, Adobe have got some results about they've invited influencers to one of their conferences, and they got far more impressions than they could have done by buying adverts.
Yeah.
But the difficulty is that brands still think that they own the people are interested in the brand, and the fact is, the matter is, people are not. They're interested in the influencer.
Yeah.
So if Chris Voss demonstrates the new Samsung phone, people are interested in the Samsung phone, but they're actually more interested in Chris Voss.
Yeah. And maybe the experience, would you say more the experience or I don't know. I get these people on YouTube every now and then. They'll be like, your review of, and usually it's because I've reviewed something poorly. Like, you'll be like, you review those headphones, and those headphones, your review sucks. And I own these headphones, and they're the greatest headphones ever. And I'll be like, well, that's cool, man. But I've reviewed like 200 headphones, and I have like there's a whole pile to the right of me of headphones that are reference headphones that we keep for, the comparison testing references. So I'm like, you can say my review is shit, but I mean, it's interesting to me.
And a review is an opinion anyway. It is. This is Chris Voss's opinion. Yeah. And if you don't like Chris Voss's opinion, well, fine. Well, So I think influencer marketing is changing, but I think people are having difficulty currently during COVID-19 because of the fact that everybody has moved online.
Yeah.
I tell the story about my 82-year-old mother, who was told she runs a wine group, so they 10 82-year-old people get together in a room and drink wine. Someone gives a presentation and then they all drink it. And she was told, well, you can't run that on Zoom. And I said, of course you can. And I said, you'll get one of the people to deliver the bottles. So that's what they've done. So she runs a wine group. Oh, wow. And they all sit on Zoom, and a man drives around. I don't know. He's probably got like a TR6 or something. He drives around and he drops the bottles on the doorsteps. Uh-huh. And they drink the wine, and church is online, Scouts is online, my mum's wine group's online. We're all used to being online.
Yeah.
Why do we need to do anything else?
What do you think is going to happen after all this? Because I believe that people are going to be so used to living the way that, let's say, you and I are used to living. I've been working from home since 2004.
Yeah.
They're gonna get used to this, and maybe they won't be as outgoing and out social. What do you think?
It was an interesting reaction today. I was on a call today, internal call, and a couple of people said, "You went for a meal? So how did you do that?" Well, I just went out and had a meal. You'll be dead in 2 weeks, was the answer. But that was from intelligent people. Wow. Giving their advice. So people are scared about going out.
Yeah. What do you think what do you think? I mean, I'm assuming that we get some sort of inoculation to this. Keep fingers crossed, or maybe we just all become herd immunity after several years to this thing. Do you think people go back to being the full thing, or will they stay in? Like, maybe I don't want to go to the soccer game or the football game in your country. I'll just stay home watching on Zoom or the telly.
I think it will. I think some people will go because they like the social aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people will make a choice to stay in.
Yeah.
And they won't go out because everything you want is online. As long as you've got an iPad and an internet connection, what else do you need?
Yeah.
You can get your food delivered. You can get, you can meet your friends, and I've got my parents' 60th wedding anniversary this Thursday.
Oh wow!
And it's going to be socially distanced.
Mm-hmm.
My father's in a home, so he's got dementia, so he's not going to really know what's going on anyway. It's just impacted society so much.
Yeah.
If we'd all said, let's have a Zoom weekend, everyone would have said, no, I can't be bothered. I won't bother taking part.
Yeah.
But now that we've had like a Zoom 3 months, I think everybody will. There's a lot of people that won't want to go into. I can't see myself going into London for meetings this year.
Yeah. Traveling, speaking, doing gigs, events. I know CES is going to have a big show in January. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think that's going to be the first real big event that will challenge the status quo and on where we're at right now. And hopefully by then, fingers crossed, we'll have some inoculation or some sort of vaccine or just better ways to prevent the spread of the disease so that we can have a healthy thing. But I'm sure it won't be the size of show that it's ever been in the last, I don't know, it got pretty small during the last recession that we had. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes through the rest of it.
Yeah, I think the two things we need is the inoculation or the herd immunity. And until we get those, I think certainly in the UK, we've all been pretty much scared the government did a really good job at scaring us to stay inside.
Yeah.
And I can't really see us changing that.
It was kind of interesting. Your leader picked up COVID-19. That was kind of looking dicey.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of look at our leaders and go, maybe you guys need some of that to get some more empathy.
Yeah, well, there was actually a situation where the whole of pretty much the whole of the top table got it at the
Really?
same time.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
And what happened was, well, it was kind of kept quiet. So they got this one person who was going to be he's not the deputy leader, but they'd said, you're the nominated leader if something goes bad. I was going to say wrong phrase then, but if it goes bad, and they actually had to put him in.
Wow.
And Boris was out for, was it 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. And then
they put him on oxygen.
Yeah, he was on oxygen. It was getting a little weird. When I heard that, I was like, that ain't good.
I thought he was out. I thought, oh my God, we've had Brexit. We had a general election. Now we've got COVID-19, and now our leader's dead.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah. And then you got Russians running around dropping radioactive isotopes in people's drinks.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Perfume.
Was that what it was? It was perfume.
Yeah. The second lot was in the perfume spray. Yeah.
Holy crap! Wow, that's why I don't.
And what happened was that when the people that did it left the scene, they put the perfume in the bin, just in a public bin.
Wow.
So these two people who were basically, well, one was his girlfriend who used to be homeless. So she went through the bin and found this perfume and went, oh, this is great. Spray. She was dead a couple of hours later. And he was like, and he's only just like recovered.
Wow. Well, it looks like the government's going after him. So what's the future of social media and social media marketing in your mind? What do you see happening in the next few years? Maybe the effect of what COVID-19 is doing. Do you see more experiential marketing, more of this type of marketing we've been talking about, or do you see cold ads coming back? What do you see in the future?
I think that over the last 3 months, people have moved on social. Mm-hmm. They're used to it. It's a natural thing to do. Mm-hmm. We're used to using Zoom. We're used to working remotely, and we're used to, if you were in a situation where you didn't use social before, mm-hmm. You do now. I mean, if you look at Simon Kemp's, I don't know if you look at, there's a guy in Singapore that comes up with these figures, Simon Kemp. 300 million people joined social media last year. Mm-hmm. And I think that it will be interesting to see his new figures coming out, because I think that will have accelerated. And
yeah, definitely. You've seen more daily active users on Facebook, on Twitter.
So I think Twitter has seen usage go up by 50%. WhatsApp has seen usage go up by 50%. So we're used to that, and it's now, if we want to buy something, we now search and we go online and we look people up, and that's kind of a natural thing, whether we're business to consumer or business to business. Mm-hmm. This is pre-COVID. So in November last year, BMW, one of the dealers in the UK, they got 28 pieces of inbound through LinkedIn. Now this is a business to consumer organization, but it's still, a BMW is still a considered purchase. Mm-hmm. So they got 28 pieces of inbound. Of those, 14 converted to sales. Wow. So if you take that 14 times, say, a BMW was what, $50,000. 14 times 50,000. That's an additional $700,000 of revenue for zero marketing spend.
Yeah.
And that same month, Jaguar Land Rover, one of their competitors, announced that they were cutting production because they weren't selling.
Oh wow!
So what you're seeing is that this winners and losers taking place in terms of people that are using social. I mean, selling BMWs on LinkedIn. That's because people who buy BMWs are on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But using, this is just an example of people that are able to use social in a way to connect with people, build relationships with people, and then buy stuff, because it's know, like, and trust. If you'll buy from people from people like and trust.
What was interesting to me was it really COVID-19 really people that were staying in the brick and mortar space and they hadn't converted to online. They're like, we're making plenty of money with brick and mortar. We don't need a mailing list. We don't need to be online ads. We don't need to worry about, what our Google search says about us. We're making so much money. And then with COVID-19, everything suddenly went online.
And it went down, and they were saying we're making loads of money. Now it's big fat zero.
Yeah. And fortunately, the companies that were smart that had built mailing lists, that had built, customer contacts, they could still reach out to the customers and say, hey, we're still open. Hey, we're still in business. Hey, here's some specials. Come see us and stuff. And you went to those businesses as opposed to a lot of the businesses that you weren't sure if they were still open. They're still not updating their Yelp or their Google with their new hours. So you don't know if they're coming or going. The other thing that happened is ads got a lot cheaper because there wasn't as much demand for ads. A lot of people quit buying ads on Facebook and everything because, they just pulled back the purse to see what was going to happen. And so the cost to advertise online, but a lot of companies that hadn't invested in, online conversion and been thinking they were safe from brick and mortar found that they were upended. And it's like, and then now you got to try and scramble. It's like, oh, we should have been collecting for the last 10 years emails and phone numbers of our customers so that we could communicate with them and get them back into the stores once we reopen from COVID-19.
I'm sure there's lots of web building companies that were called up 3 days into lockdown from those retailers and have meetings. We have a company in the UK, Primark, which sells, in effect, you can get like a shirt for $10, $15. You don't need to wash it; you just throw it away.
Oh wow!
And they have no online presence at all. And they went from last March, April, they made about $750 million.
Wow. Holy crap!
And they went to zero, nothing, because they had to shut all the shops.
Wow.
They've only just opened, obviously in a social distancing way. I don't know what their figures are going to be like, but there must be people that have been scrambling to do stuff online. And the fact of the matter is, we now prefer it because we're used to it. Why would I go outside and be coughed and sneezed on when I can sit and do it?
And you want to know who's got good. You want to know which companies are. One of the things I saw early on from the mailers I was getting and the ads I was running is like, we have a safe environment here. No one touches your food. We're all wearing masks. I like going to stores that I know, like Home Depot here. They have tape around the cashier, and they're like, please don't get in this area. The cashier had masks early on at Home Depot. And then I go to other stores and they didn't have masks. And I'm like, okay, wow. Okay. So we're rolling the dice with my life here. I prefer the stores that, are following the rules where I don't have to, they seem to be, you see them cleaning stuff and you're like, okay, well, people are, they're aware of what's going on. And then, you go in other places, they're just dice rolling it. But I think it definitely, hopefully, many of those businesses will survive, but it will give them a shot across the bow that they need to get online. They need to develop their mailing list. They need to deliver their marketing. One of the problems I was having right before COVID-19 that was driving me crazy with events is I was contacting a lot of companies on their Twitter and their Facebook fan page accounts. And over the last couple of years, it just seemed like they gave up on them. They're like, no one was monitoring them. No one was answering them. I was seeing their Twitter accounts weren't being, last time somebody checked in, it was like 2017. And there seemed to be this, I don't know, everyone was making so much money and the economy was going so good. People weren't worrying about these assets anymore. And now they got to worry about them because it's like, this is the way you communicate with people.
I think you're 100%. I think there's a lot of people that went into social media and the view is still at a C level, is that social media is for kids. It's for posting pictures of your lunch and cat photos. And actually social media is a serious business now. That's where everybody is. It's where your prospects and your clients are, and you need to be there. Yeah. Otherwise you're invisible.
Yep.
So And I think a lot of people are suddenly realizing that. I mean, we've had a number of companies that rang us up, and we've been talking to them for 6 months, and there's always another priority. And then all of a sudden they ring us up and said, like today's Monday, they said, we need you in on Friday. Well, why? Because what's changed? Don't be so stupid. We know what's changed. Get in here and sort us out. And we've had a lot of people that have said, we need to get on social and be doing it and doing it quick. Otherwise, we're not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
We've also seen the buying process change in big companies because discretionary spend has been stopped.
Yeah.
So there's a number of cases where you understand the buying cycle, you talk to all the different people, you connect to them, and you're talking at VP or SVP level, and the whole deal then comes and it has to go up to the CEO. And the CEO you don't have a relationship with, and they just cut it.
Yep.
So, even now there's more people that you've got to talk to, more relationships you've got to build, and you can't do that face to face, and it's tough.
Yeah. And people, like you say, less discretionary income. People aren't as free with the cash as they used to be. We used to do a lot of events. People used to throw a lot of stupid cash around and be like, you're really going to pay for that? And I'm sure things are going to be quite different now as people go back into it. So, anything more we need to know about Timothy and some of your books and stuff, what you guys do online?
No, just social selling techniques to influence buyers and change makers. Available on Amazon worldwide. 85 5-star reviews last time I looked.
Nice.
It's people love it, and if you want to know about the way that the world has changed, then it's a great book to read.
And it's definitely important now because you need to get your business online, so you can recommend that. And then there's marketing as well that people can check out.
Yes.
But it's been wonderful to have you on, Timothy. We need to have you on more, and we need to chat about what's going on, especially between our two countries.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Plus I need a friend to bunk with or get a couch crash with if
we got a spare room, Chris, when you're in London next.
If certain things happen in November, I mean, you get the hell out of this country.
The only problem is it's got 3 flights of stairs, so you get the exercise.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I might have a choice, and most likely I won't be able to fly, and I'll have to take a rowboat and row across and come under the
November's going to be interesting. I think I'm going to sit up and watch it.
It will be interesting. I think the ride up to it's going to be interesting as well. Well, Timothy, it's been wonderful to get to know you better, have you on the show and everything. I encourage my audience to go check out Timothy on. We'll have him on more often as the future of social marketing develops and how this plays in with COVID-19. Be sure to go to our channels, the cvpn.com, Chris Voss Podcast Network, and youtube.com/Chris Voss, and subscribe to the show there. Be sure to give the show a recommendation if you're listening in. You can go to iTunes and go to the recommendation section and give it 5 stars and tell people why you like it. You can also reach out to me, of course, at Twitter, Chris Voss, and Facebook and LinkedIn, et cetera, and give us any comments or whatever on the show. Look for some of the great guests we'll continue to have on the Chris Voss Show. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.